had some issues with it as a result. My friend Kaycee was talking to me. She's got some stuff of her own going on that she needs help with. Not so easy. Anyway, Molly and Tom ended up, I guess, relocating right back to this very spot that they were at before. So I was gonna try to find a place to go park other than here after calling Kaycee, but before I could call Kaycee, that's when the state patrol pulled up, and they were kind of looking at the camp a little bit. They didn't get out, they just sat there. Usually that means that they're checking to see if somebody's there, and they'll probably come by with 2 or 3 vehicles later on. They'll probably try to make it, well, we'll see if they try to double down or triple down on the homeless thing by claiming, oh, well, State Patrol had an incident with a homeless person, and so did the Sheriff's Department, and so did the local police department. Well, no, they all 3 show up at once. All 3 get paid for showing up at once. They're not going to observe the fucking law. They don't give a holy goddamn. But now all 3 of those agencies get to claim that they had to deal with a homeless encampment. And just a few days ago, they told Roland that he needed to move because he had a tent up. Now there's a tarp up, and hopefully they don't pretend it's a tent, but I don't know what the laws here are, really, as far as that goes. I know that if it's state or federal land, you're supposed to be able to, God, what do they call it? Boondock? But I also know that they don't have any area where you can pull off with a vehicle and do that. And also, I see people boondocking in more than one location and getting harassed by the cops for it, so I don't know. Are they observing the law or not? Anyway, I half expect 3 law enforcement vehicles or so to show up and harass them into moving either sometime tonight with a citation in the hopes that they'll leave because they don't have the money to pay the citation, and they don't want to lose everything, which will happen if they get arrested and go to jail for not paying a citation. They might make it a local warrant just because they don't want somebody coming back if that person happens to have a petty local warrant and they go to the next county or a couple counties over. You know, there's going to be no pressure for those people to be sent back here. But if they show up back here, they'll arrest them on the warrants. And there's the non-extraditable warrants. And that's one of them. A local warrant is a non-extraditable. There's also the fact that Scott DaCosta had lied to me on multiple occasions. Also, the lady who was supposed to help me, Megan Misgatus, she wanted to pull that whole local warrants thing too, but no. The one in Arapahoe County ain't a local warrant. I had already called in and found out from an officer in Colorado, an officer I know personally by name, an officer whose own voice is recorded live in a conversation between him and I on my YouTube channel. His name is Officer Abel Ramos. Yeah. I think he might possibly be the most respected officer in Boulder history. But that still depends on who you ask. I don't want them getting messed with by the cops. Also, I don't want to get accused of calling the cops on them. With all the screaming and shouting that she's done today and over the last few days, and the literally no one being allowed to speak without getting yelled at. Man, I'm glad Tom's here. Anyway, my car overheated a bit because I was trying to charge up my phone. And so I plugged that in. I'm gonna find another place to go park, despite the fact that having somebody else local, like Tom, there, that will help it to make me more safe, less likely to be victimized, more likely to have help if I yell. Somebody who might actually care at least a little bit. And me being completely on my own and being completely fucked. People are most likely to victimize you when you're alone. I'm always alone. That's why a lot of these people try to partner up. There's a lot of people who'd like to partner up with somebody who's like-minded and end up getting wrangled into the whole save-a-hoe situation. You know, in most cases, I'd rather save the man in the scenario because he's not playing head games with me. But also it comes down to we're all taught certain things, and, you know, as soon as she throws on the waterworks, even if she's dead wrong, you're supposed to pretend she's right and help. There's a lot of guys that I know who got duped like that. They worked together with the wrong person, and as soon as she got up and out, she dropped his ass like a ton of bricks. Oftentimes with false charges. She suckered him into wasting all his resources on her. And what does he get for it? Kicked in the fucking teeth. And a lot of those guys, they threw away some of the best friends they ever had because this woman is crying and here's society's expectations. For some of it, realistically, it's because those men absolutely were lonely. They were glad that somebody was paying them attention. They were glad, of course, that somebody was thinking about breeding with them. Like, you know, that's something that's fairly common as well. Extremely common. You know, you pretend you like him, you tell him you love him, you touch his naughty, and well, yeah. Next thing you know, you find out what kind of a friend your friend is because he's done thrown everybody away because he's just glad to be getting laid. You know, he wants to believe everything that's told to him and every sob story and so on and so forth. But then there's people like Tom who know that it's all fucking bullshit, and people like me who know that it's all fucking bullshit. And not out of every woman, but out of a lot of them. And in specific ones that are like that, we do recognize that there are people who are like that. Not everybody is made out of sugar and spice and everybody nice. He's not doing this to help get her to Portland because he's a horrible person. He's not fed up with her bullshit because he's a horrible person. He's not a horrible person. He's fed up with her bullshit, and he's still trying to make sure that she's at least somewhere where she's not dropped off homeless and alone and somewhere that's unfamiliar. So she's got safety and protection of not being alone, despite the fact that she's the one bringing all this fucking drama to the area, to the community, to him, and to me. When I told y'all a long time ago, many, many times since then, that I didn't have the money for college. So I went and got jobs working for people who knew how to do the things that I wanted to know how to do. Well, I've always wanted to be able to do flint knapping. And although I might not be able to do it, there's a thing that I was looking at, and I can't remember what it was designed for, but it was a special handle. It might have been for knitting, I'm not sure. But the handles are made so that they're soft, And so that basically you just slide your fingers in there and they hold it. And you just have to be able to move your arms and your wrist a little bit, you know. You don't have to actually hold on to the things that are attached to, you know, it's basically a glove. And they probably could have done just as easy a thing by making some rings that you could put your fingers through. But I think it was a matter of comfort because it's for, you know, older people with rheumatoid arthritis that have spent their whole lives, you know, having a skill that they're not able to utilize anymore. Kind of like the rubber things that they make for older folks so they can turn the page when they're reading a book, or bifocals, so people with bad vision can see far away and up close, so they can, of course, read a book. There's a situation of disabilities and the fact that if you don't see it, it means that it must not exist. Now, there's mechanical items that can help you and assist you. And those mechanical items often denote you and your disability. If you're in a wheelchair, well, chances are that you're paralyzed from the waist down, or you've had an amputation or two. If you've got those arm things and a prosthetic leg, or you aren't wearing your prosthetic, that pretty well gives it away. If you're wearing just shorts and a prosthetic, that gives it away. If you're wearing glasses, that gives away your eyesight. Now then there's Kaycee. And in Kaycee's situation, I'm trying to take care of myself out here in case he needs help. And I understand that when I talk to her, if she's telling me stuff, it's not just to tell me, it's because it's an issue that she needs help with. And I let her know that. So she is aware of it. I've let her know that more than once. I also let her know that I make videos about it. And she's given me permission to do that, by the way. But she also, you know, it's got to be just our conversations, because it's... I explained to her, you know, a lot of the people on my YouTube that tried to get their kids back, they spoke up, and it was on my YouTube that they were doing that, and they got their kids back. And that's the thing with some of the ones, most of the ones that didn't get their kids back, they wanted me to tell their story. And I tried, but it wasn't their voice. It wasn't that frustrated mother who was speaking up. And the same thing with her health issues and the way that she's been screwed over because she's poor. She's not even 21 yet, and she might not make it to 21. She needs surgery to remove something that is in her brain, and that thing is in her brain because of a surgery that she had years ago that was supposed to be temporary. I'm not trying to insinuate that she's got some sort of a device in her brain that is controlling her thoughts and tracking her movements or anything crazy like that. She got her skull bashed up just shortly after birth, and now there's issues with her brain that require that she drain out excess fluid. So that's what the device is supposed to do, is to drain out excess fluid. However, over time it'll calcify, and once it calcifies, it'll start giving you issues, including inflammation. Also, it helps to break it loose from the tissue bond that it's supposed to hold. And then that calcification that's on it, if any of that breaks loose, it could potentially, and probably will, get into your brain, where it'll give you an aneurysm and it'll kill you. Or you'll have a stroke from it. So I'm worried about Kaycee, and she wanted to call me and talk to me, and she's telling me about some of her stuff, and Doing it together is important. Also, the living situation that she's in, it's horrible. Her and her boyfriend want to live somewhere where they can be safe, same as the rest of us. They can't due to poverty and disabilities. At least she has somebody there to help her with the disability stuff. And I hope he does, because she does need it. But I need help with the disability stuff too. For one moment. Excuse me, miss. Would you trade a brand new lighter for a cigarette?
I don't have cigarettes. I roll them myself.
Oh, you're good.
I only have one.
That's all right. Thank you, ma'am.
Sorry.
You're all right. All right. Well, I probably shouldn't approached a woman at night in the dark. It was not quite as dark, but she was standing in the dark, so I guess that could be construed as creepy. I just saw somebody smoking a cigarette and figured I'd ask. In the area she's standing in, I didn't know if she was a boy or a girl until I got close enough. And, well, by that time I'd already asked. Anyway, I'm hoping I don't get messed with by the state patrol tonight. I'm hoping Tom doesn't get messed with by the state patrol tonight. And although I was told that Fred Meyer is the place to go to park for the night and try to get some sleep, I've been here a few nights. I've also been stuck in the same parking spot for a few nights. I've also had a bunch of screaming and yelling and shouting and stuff like that for a few nights. So, yeah, I'm not comfortable here anymore. Too much attention. Wide berth. I saw somebody wearing a hoodie, a black hoodie. Didn't know who it was, but it looked like they had a cigarette in their hand, so I was gonna go ask them, "Let's Molly." So I made as wide a berth as I possibly could. I don't know why she's not a camp. She probably drove Tom nuts again and realized that he's about her only chance of getting the fuck out of here at this point. I don't know. If there was an argument, I missed it. Anyway, when you got somebody who's that batshit bonkers and you're trying to be nice to them, you also got to pay attention to the fact that it makes things a lot worse for you. Just by doing their craziness. They can make things worse for the entire community. Just one woman can destroy everything in a community. I mean that literally. One woman who wants to throw a tantrum over something that didn't happen because she didn't get her meth or her heroin or her pills or her booze. And the cops come through and say, "Oh, well, this is all illegal. You're all under arrest and we're going to destroy all your shit." And they do. So, with her playing nice and then going out of her way to do crazy shit again, when I noticed it was her, I made sure I went around, and I don't care if she tries playing nice again, because I already know it's going to be a yo-yo, and I don't have time for that bullshit. I didn't have time for that bullshit with Brett Roloff, or with Shannon Alvarado, or with my little sister. I don't have time for it. I've got my own fucking problems. The other thing is, when somebody's in need, they're in need. If she's got needs, but at the same time, Tom is a human being too. I am a human being as well. And this lady is driving everybody fucking nuts. Anyway, unless I'm talking to Tom, and if I happen to see him while I'm recording, I usually don't record him. I don't want to go anywhere near his camp, so I'll probably stand out in the middle of the road and ask if he's there. Actually, I'll do that on camera so that it's shown that I'm not stealing nothing from camp. Hey Tom, you in there? Tom? Nope. He's not in there, and she's over by one of the entrances. I don't know why there's nobody at their camp to watch that stuff, but I don't want to be held responsible, so of course I'm already back at the garden center. If you record it and people make false accusations, it's recorded. The problem for me is that although most of these situations with these false accusations actually are recorded, I don't have any help. The stuff that was recorded by the police, I needed help to get that. Otherwise, going in by myself, I was going to be getting the mentally ill treatment. Same thing with the media. Somebody had to do it with me, not for me, not tell me to do it myself, but with me. That always increases your chances of being heard. Like Jesus fucking Christ, I'm being abused. People are threatening to kill my friends and family, including you. The least you could do is back me the fuck up when you're the one that's telling me that people are threatening to kill you and your family over it. When I'm called mentally ill and schizophrenic and delusional by my predators, literally for saying that you guys were abused because you told me that you were abused, and you don't come over and come out with it. Oh yeah, I got a big issue with you too. Now I'm having a problem believing that you're telling the truth to me about that. Were you manipulating me, or did you tell the truth? In a lot of these situations, because I was literally there for the situation, I know they were telling the truth. I've admitted that they were telling the truth. I also said what the cops said. Oh, and then these people want to get angry, don't they? You're slandering my name. You're slandering my name. Now there's two types of quote-unquote slandering. Number one, there's the part where it's stuff that came out of their mouth, and I said it came out of their mouth, and then they said that I lied about them and slandered them, and then of course, well, I produced the recording with them where they say literally word for word what it is that I said that they did. Oh, people do not like that, do they? Not even a little bit, not even at all. Well, there's two types, like I said. Now, for me, being out here, being in these subservient environments, understanding that despite my intelligence, when it's in my opponent's favor or my enemy's favor, or these are predators. There's no other way to describe them. The people that they choose to take advantage of, well, they're people you shouldn't take advantage of. Disabled adults, it's not okay to take advantage of them. There's a lot of guys that were going to work together with me that didn't because of their girlfriends, their wives, or some crazy lunatic lady that later on they get a hold of me and they say something like, dude, she fucking flipped her shit in Yuma, Arizona. I had to fucking drop her off and leave. You better not have dropped her out in the middle of nowhere. You better actually at least dropped her off in town. Yeah, I dropped her off in town. I'm not gonna fucking kill nobody. I'm like, okay, cool. It happens. Brandon Ratner got into a lot of screwed up situations because he wanted to follow his heart. No, he wasn't following his heart. He was following his loneliness. When you're lonely like Brandon and you've been screwed over by, well, somebody like Veronica, as seriously as he got it. You know, he's feeling real lonesome, real lonely, real alone. And for him, you know, he's been in a relationship, so he's used to having that person in his life, unlike me, who's never had a girlfriend. I'm not used to having that. I get to see it from a distance. But for him, finding that female companionship to replace what he lost, that was more important than telling the truth. That was more important than taking the situation with me seriously and actually coming forward and speaking up. Brandon, he was one of the people that was involved in this from the very beginning. He was involved in helping me to get to Virginia, just like Brenda Dickinson and Laura Nelson. He took part in helping to get me back here, like Brenda Dickinson and Laura Nelson. Well, back to Nebraska and Colorado anyway. He also took part when we moved Josh Hughes out to my shop outside of Boulder. When he took all of his big stuff that was not fucking necessary and he stuffed it into my shop, so I literally couldn't work in my shop, and left it there for months without paying his rent. Then he was breaking the rules there, and he got us kicked out. What the fuck is burning? That smells like a structure fire. I don't know. That might be still more of that smoke from California. It's been wafting through all day. And the breeze did pick up a little bit of warmness there for, yeah. There's a little bit warmer air, just barely. But I don't remember what I made this video for. What I do know is I'm just trying to make sure every moment's recorded, because there's a lot of fucking crazy shit, and that lady does a lot of crazy shit. As long as I record it, they can say whatever they want. The actual situation is recorded. That doesn't mean it's going to be seen. As was a pretty wide road. I had to stop halfway through to let somebody cross before finishing. Oh, cool. The light off of something. Parts of it can go through a tire, so what do I do with stuff that will go through a tire? Bring it off to the side of the road and throw it away. Because that could be my tire it goes through. I helped out a lot of people who promised that they were going to help me, and it ended up not being that way. It ended up that they didn't help me, that they procrastinated and took their dear sweet fucking time. You know, when I would call Shannon and say, hey, we can call the cops right now. We can try to turn this in right now. And she would argue with me drunken for a fucking hour. I didn't realize she was drunk at the time because I hadn't met her in real life yet. But that's all time that was wasted. Her telling me she was gonna over and over and over again, but literally never following through. Then there's people like Mandy Hughes and her daughter, Alyssa Rainwater. The stuff with them, well, is it true or not? Was she gaslighting me and playing head games? Or were they? Or did the things that they told me actually happen? Same thing with Sarah Bacon. Did those things actually happen with all these people who said that their families were threatened? Were they? Or were these people bullshitting me? Those people lied to me in order to affect my decisions and send me into a panic attack. Oh, that's illegal as fuck. And I know I rail against a lot of these idiots, especially the addicts. But if you notice, I still come out here and I still help them. I'm also aware of their antics and their bullshit and their tactics. There's a lot of people who are going through similar stuff with literally the exact same people by name. And one of those examples is Miss Molly. Me and Tom, and of course that man this morning, you know, we've all had to deal with her antics. That guy this morning just met her this morning, and she already started an argument with him and telling him he needed to shut up and it's her turn to talk. Cute. Oh nice, I found one worth smoking. Alright. Anyway, I gotta try to think of somewhere to go park where I'm not gonna get messed with. I've had a 24/7 lockout services. Cool. That's a cool little sign. Anyway, don't want to overwear my welcome at Fred Meyer. And if they call the cops because I've been there too long or because I'm parked over by people who are really, really pulling a lot of attention because of that crazy lady. And it is crazy. That lady is completely nuts. It's batshit fucking bonkers to believe that you can do that stuff day in and day out and nobody's gonna come pay any attention to it whatsoever. She's been screaming at people for days. You looked up and didn't look at me evil like I had pissed in your grapes or Cheerios, so I was letting you know I wasn't ignoring you.
No, I just had a long night.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry for bugging you. Did you guys, were you able to find the people who the phone belonged to last night?
I don't know.
That's all right.
I just got back from vacation, so.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you.
Here.
Be safe.
Have a good night.
Yes, ma'am. That lady looked up and she didn't look at me like I peed in her Cheerios or raped her dogs or some creepy shit like that. And I didn't want her to think that I was avoiding her like she had resting bitch face and I was walking away like she had the plague. Mostly it's that I try to give people privacy when I'm recording. Sometimes I'm not sure how people will take things. Sometimes people tell me they didn't take it a certain way, and then later I find out they did. I think the little white lie that guy told, it increases my chances of getting messed with by her again as well. It takes them a while to get out of town. And I was hoping that they were gonna move to their other camp like they were gonna. And his cousin was gonna show up and give him a ride to Portland like she was gonna. But life is what happens when you're busy making plans, right? Now he does plan on coming back here for his own stuff. Also, he has a person here who he's teaching how to do the flint knapping. What I was thinking about doing is because of the tools that go on it and also the way that you hold it, that I could simulate it basically with a knuckle sandwich. Yes, that one is massive! It's damn near a full cigarette. Anyway, the way I should explain it is, alright, you know those Hulk fists? You know they're like a squishy foam, but they're green and they're big. If you can imagine one of those, it's much smaller, and it's only that foam on the inside, and then there's a little piece sticking out of it about that far that's the end of your knitting needle. And instead of that piece sticking out and it being a knitting needle, it'll be like a piece of bone, a piece of antler, or a piece of copper, or possibly iron for chipping off the different pieces. And I might also, instead of doing it that way, because when you hold it, your hand's kind of in there like this. It's not like completely curled up. Because the thing that they made is designed for like really old people with bad rheumatoid arthritis, and mine's not bad yet. So if I have one of those, I should be able to do it. I'll have to do a little bit different from what he's showing me, but I'll be able to apply the pressure and the correct motion in the correct way. And with my fists being as weak as they are, or with my hands being as weak as they are as far as grip goes, it'll make it so I don't have to grip it. It'll basically just be supported with my hands in fucking contraption. Basically all it is a hard handle with soft stuff around it, and then a finger guard with soft stuff inside of it. That way your hand is basically... Oh, you're good. I mean, oh my God, you're going to Hades, sir. I'm gonna sue. Oh, you're good. Barely over the line. If I was a cop, I wouldn't have stopped him for it. But he was saying that because he barely crossed the line while I was crossing the crosswalk. He's good. He wasn't trying to hurt anybody, and I'm alright with it. So, now that I've been walking around for a few minutes pretending people give me shit. Oh wow, 3 viewers. I guess there's 3 people who are bored enough to watch this, or they watched earlier when it was exciting. The situation with Kaycee, I got to call her back. The situation with Tom, I'm not sure where he's at, so I'm gonna hang up on you guys and make sure he's alright. if need be. He knows where another camp is. I can drop off a bunch of my stuff, and depending on if Roland left already or not, I could see if he could watch our stuff long enough for me to come help get Tom's stuff and take him to his camp. You know how we end these videos. Good to be rid of you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and no victim left behind. Oh yeah, and wouldn't it be cool if I learned how to flint nap?